If you are going to contend in the SEC, you've got to be strong in a number of positional units, pretty much all of them, but definitely, no doubt, at the defensive line position. You've got to stop the run and rush the passer and win the line of scrimmage. And Mississippi State definitely, by the looks of this past recruiting class, trying to make that a fortified position. We bring in Ethan Lee from For Whom the Cowbell Tolls on the SB Nation platform for MSU. Ethan, we always appreciate you stopping by.
How's it going, Mark?
It's going pretty well. And by the looks of Dan Mullen's recruiting class on the defensive front, they're making some strides there. They bring in some great talent. We'll first get to the guys coming back.
The biggest name coming back would be Jeffrey Simmons.
Okay.
He had a huge freshman year. You know, he had the incident in the offseason before he even signed. He signs with State. Dan Mullen comes under a lot of controversy for that, rightfully so. And now, you know, he performed incredibly, stayed clean, you know, kept his nose clean off the field. Hopefully he can continue to do so because we can't have any more incidents like that. That was horrible. But if he can continue to play well, continue to stay out of trouble, you know, he's a phenomenal player, phenomenal athlete.
Nelson Adams, A.J. Jefferson, those guys also leaving campus. Corey Thomas is a pretty good player coming back as well. Yeah. 4 tackles for loss and 24 total tackles. You feel good about this defensive line group, or the guys that we're about to mention, do you see them definitely having to take over?
I think there's going to be a decent mix. I'm pretty confident in the defensive line, especially with Todd Grantham coming in. You know, replacing Peter Sermon was probably the best thing that Dan Mullen could do, and he got a huge upgrade there in that trade with Louisville. So bringing Todd Grantham in, you're going to see some different looks here and there. You know, you're replacing Nick James. That's a huge loss. You're replacing guys like A.J. Jefferson, but you're bringing in Lee Autry. You're bringing in a couple of other JUCO guys, Deion Pope. You're bringing in a lot of talent and a lot of size as well. These are not small guys that are coming in to play for Mississippi State.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the names coming in, and it's just not quantity. There's a ton of guys on this list, but there's also top-rated players. And Dan Mullen really locked down the state of Mississippi for the most part in regards to this position for sure. We're looking at some of the best players in the state on the defensive front.
It was huge to keep those guys in Mississippi, to get a lot of, you know, the best JUCO talent in the state to come in, have an immediate impact with a team that was pretty young a year ago, pretty inexperienced a year ago. You add that mix of talent and that experience and could provide for a good defensive year, especially with as bad as the defense was a year ago.
Yeah, Deion Pope, #1 rated defensive tackle. Lee Autry right behind him at #2. They're both coming in early, so they'll get a jump on things. Chauncey Rivers, highly regarded as one of the top 5 players in the state overall, and probably the best at his position at the weak side defensive end spot. So this was definitely a target for this group.
Huge. Another name that you didn't mention would be James Jackson, 6'3", 350 pounds. He's probably going to be a nose tackle. You know, he fits right in that mold to stop the run there, can eat up offensive linemen. He's not as highly ranked, but is projected to be pretty good.
All right, Ethan Lee from For Whom the Cowbell Tolls. It's the SB Nation platform for Mississippi State athletics. We appreciate you breaking down the defensive line, and we will knock out the rest of the positions as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you.